Thanks for hanging on as I put this channel on hold during the height of summer to spend time with my family and get episodes produced ahead. Today, we're tackling non-Starfleet uniforms for this edition of...
Yeah, it's the best five, worst five, know what I mean. Yeah, it's the best five, worst five tracks ever seen.
Like many of the civilian fashions we've talked about in previous episodes, Star Trek's portrayal of other races' uniforms generally leans on the side of mediocre to bad, to the point we only came up with 6 entries to consider for best, compared to dozens in consideration for the worst in military garb, or at least similar enough patterns to be considered a race's de facto uniform. Leading off the worst non-Starfleet uniforms, number 5, the Mullet Brigade. Do you like games? Well, Quark's tables are known from here to the Gamma Quadrant and have caught the eye of the stick-fetishizing race known as the Wadi. I feel like this is the Nordic ice skating team with mediocre to bad hair that somehow got this episode nominated for an Emmy. Could someone please tell the Wadi to take their Klonpeegs and get the hell out of here? Number 4, reused homewares. This entry is for every era of Romulan uniforms from TOS's depiction of reused curtains, which is par for the course in TOS terms, but fast forward to the TNG era and it's basically shiny comforters stitched together. I guess if you're stranded on Galorndon Core, this uniform might have advantages against the elements. While the collar and unisuspender plate denoting rank are pretty cool, overall, the Romulans fail at fashion as a whole. As Garrick once recounted, the predominant color on Romulus is gray, and their military uniforms reflect this. Number 3, Pet Supply City. The Kazon are one of the least interesting villains we've ever seen on screen. While their garb is generally scavenged clothing, there is definitely a style to their uniforms across 20 or more factions. Many shades of overlapping browns, sometimes accessorized with horse equipment, and hair put together sometimes with sponges and dog toys. Kinda hard to take this race that managed to strand the crew of Voyager for a few days seriously by their uninteresting attire, put together from the local pet store. Number 2, wide receivers. Only seen in Voyager's The Raven, the Bomar are always ready to play American football, and that's about all I can say regarding this xenophobic race. The worst non-Starfleet uniform? Laughable galactic power. The TOS era of Klingon uniforms leaves a lot to be desired from this warrior race. The faded horizontal stripes of the 60s and 70s combined with sparkling pants would have me rolling on the ground laughing, and that's how the Klingons take my settlement. I know it's TOS rating whatever costumes they can for cheap, but these uniforms needed to be retconned in Discovery. Whatever you might think about the new Klingon makeup, their armor is a million times better than whatever this is. Wardrobe changing into the best of non-Starfleet uniforms. Number 5, Rings of Respect. In Enterprise's 3rd season, the uniforms of the Xindi Reptilians are visually stunning. While it probably provides some level of armor, the gold ring design gives the biggest shoulders in the room and instantly demand respect. It really helps shape this reptilian race and bring out their most menacing features. Number 4, to honorable combat. While we ding the TOS-era Klingons for their questionable fashion sense, by the TNG DS9 era, the standard body armor and its variations represent a giant leap forward in the depiction of the species. A modest leather combat armor, when coupled with any of the Klingons' favorite melee weapons, makes them look like an unstoppable battle force no one wants to tango with. And for the ladies, Klingon women aren't afraid to show some cleavage, even on a good day to die. Number 3, the Serpent Scales. The military uniforms of the Cardassian Union appear to be both armored yet comfortable for any situation. The curving molded chest piece is designed to emphasize leading from a place of power and strength. Though the first iteration of Cardassian uniforms are terrible from what look like cardboard plating under a suit to the superfluous helmet, if you can call it that. Thankfully, it didn't take the wardrobe department long to dial in the iconic look of this Nazi-like expansionist race. Number 2, power armor. The Hirogen in Voyager may have the most useful armored uniform we've seen to this point in the franchise. Once said to allow the wearer to withstand the neutronium mantle of a collapsed star, I don't think anything compares to what seems to be the standard uniforms of the warrior race that make the Klingons look tame. Along with what appears to be an accessory breathing apparatus to allow for missions in the vacuum of space or the most hostile environments, this is hands down the most utilitarian uniform we may ever encounter. Finally, the best uniform outside the Federation in Star Trek? Number 1. Reflected Perfection. Discovery's look at the Terran Empire in Season 1 and 3 give us the most jaw-dropping uniforms in Trek by a mile. I would probably rate them as higher than any Starfleet uniform even. From the simple but elegant black leather-like base uniform with piping at the shoulders, to the different amounts of gold overarmor to signify rank, the Terrans do get something right for being a totalitarian ultra-fascist group. Specifically, Mary Wiseman wins Best in Category for her portrayal of Captain Killy. My wife seriously considered putting in an early bid when this piece went to auction and ended up selling for over $6,000. I do hope we see Pike and crew make a crossing to our nearest alternate universe in the future. What's your favorite non-Federation uniform?